Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to a new live episode of our program here on Nile International, The Daily Debate. I'm Dr. Yasmin Bekir. I'll be filling in for my dear colleague, Dina Othman, for this evening. Today, in our special episode, we're going to be discussing a rather very important, and it's rather the talk of the hour topic. Of course, we have all witnessed the recommendations that came out of the first National Conference for Youth that took place in Sharm el-Sheikh, and where there have been more than 3,000 participants and representatives, whether they're from the youth or from the prominent figures, and as well as experts in different fields of the government. What's important here is to really implement and have concrete ground on the recommendations and following up what these recommendations are about, and also to ensure that the youth, which do constitute a very large percentage of this population, do really have an active role, whether it's going to be a political role or a social role or a culture. Today we're going to have very their perspective. They see future with the implementation of these recommendations, how their impressions was when they attended the National Conference for Youth, and if their parties have any aims and targets that they would like to achieve in collaboration with different categories of youth. And again, this is what's important at this stage, that all different categories, whether they're social backgrounds or educational backgrounds of youth, that they would have an active role and say in building up the future of this country. Do stay tuned right after the first report, where we flash back a little bit a couple of days earlier, where we see the recommendations of this conference and what President Abdel Fattah el-Sisi had to say regarding the successful conference. And we'll be right back to start this episode. Please stay tuned.
The closing ceremony of the first National Youth Conference in Sharm el-Sheikh on Thursday, Egypt's President Abdel Fattah el-Sisi announced the formation of National Commission of Youth to review the cases of the youth detained without trial as per the conference recommendations. The Egyptian president said that the commission would present its first report to the presidency after coordinating with authorities in 15-day time. El-Sisi also promised that the amendments to the 2013 protest law proposed by the youth participating in the conference will be studied. The head of state said that the Egyptian presidency will coordinate with the cabinet to found a national center to develop young people for political and social leadership roles. The Egyptian presidency will also hold a monthly meeting with the youth from all sectors of society to follow up on the recommendations of the conference. El-Sisi asked the youth of all political parties to prepare programs and policy recommendations that raise awareness on the importance of volunteer work to solve social problems, beginning with the widespread illiteracy. The president said that the government and Al-Azhar's Islamic Institute would launch a vast social dialogue to enforce principles of morality in order to correct religious discourse. He praised the first National Youth Conference as a great opportunity to exchange views without exclusion, saying the conference will continue to be held annually. El-Sisi honored a group of Egyptian youth with a Creativity Award, including internationally recognized Egyptian soprano Fatma Saeed and Paralympic table tennis player Ibrahim Hamatou. The first National Youth Conference was organized by the presidency and attended by several political parties and groups. Not less than 3,000 Egyptian youth from different backgrounds attended the conference to debate the variety of political, economic and cultural issues. During his inauguration speech, El-Sisi said that the conference, the first session of which was focused on education in Egypt, should be used to have a dialogue and raise hope. Regarding the education system in Egypt, El-Sisi said the government cannot put an overhaul of the country's poor education system high on its agenda at the moment, as the country does not have sufficient resources to do so. The second session was focused on the evaluation of youth participation in Parliament. During the session, President El-Sisi suggested that each MP be appointed to assistants under the age of 40 so as to prepare the youth for politics. He also encourages the youth to participate in the upcoming local council elections. The president added that this will be the fourth time a committee is tasked with revising the cases of detained young activists. Later in the day, the Egyptian president attended a meeting with a group of Egyptian youth, where he said that the country is in a difficult position and that its young people should not resort to protests, as this is harmful to the economy.